Welcome back to the Two Blues podcast and another live match preview. Monday night football, a big game, a big opportunity for Chelsea to get back into the top four at home against Wolves today. And we have just got the team news through. The lineup is confirmed and there are a couple of inclusions, a couple of exclusions as well that I was not expecting. Right back in the starting lineup for Trevor Chalobah, back where he belongs, but starting from the sticks. Robert Sanchez maintains his place in goal as Chelsea's number one. Undeservedly so, but we're not here to talk goalkeepers just yet. Let him make those clangers today because God knows it could be far worse if we'd have gone for Andre Onana. But the back four, I'd argue this is probably the most experienced back four, the oldest average age back four we've had all season, man. Left back, Mark Cucurella. Left centre back, Trevor Chalobah. Fantastic to see him back, man. I was so so worried that we might have brought him back just to sit on the bench. We might have recalled him. Fantastic loan move he was having at Crystal Palace. Was slightly worried there would be an element of, shall we play him over the players we've already got on the books? Look, fantastic to see he is straight back in the lineup and he's playing alongside Tosin Adarabioyo, which interesting to me. I mean, Achimpong is on the bench. I would have expected Achimpong to continue starting. Maybe they do feel with Cunha and Strand Larsen and Sarabia, they do need a little bit more experience at the back. But that is the centre-back pairing they have gone for, Chalobah and Tosin. The first time we've seen a new centre-back pairing in a while. So it'll be interesting to see how they go today. If I'm not mistaken, Anselminho is not on the bench as well. So fingers crossed they will see out the 90 minutes, but we'll see how it goes. And at right back, of course, Captain El Capitan Reece James returns. Obviously, cameo appearance against Bournemouth, scored a crucial equalising goal for us, showed us just how clutch, just how important this guy is, man. And I tell you what, I've been saying it throughout the season, there is nothing to gain from selling Reece James. I would rather keep Reece James for not even 4 games a season, 4 of those moments per season. Reece James showed us against Bournemouth just why he deserves to be in this squad. And then centre midfielder Enzo Maresca did warn us. Enzo Maresca told us Enzo Fernandez was one of the 4 players nursing a knock alongside Romeo Lavia, the other 2, Cole Palmer, and who was the other one? Levi Colwill, who obviously isn't in the team as well. So 3 out of the 4 that Enzo Maresca said were injured or doubts have not been part of the squad today. And Enzo is unfortunately replaced for me by Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. Kieran, I hope you are already in the comments getting ready for this legendary crash out. There is also not another centre midfielder on the bench. I mean, bar on Kunku, Felix, who you could argue are 10s. It looks like Dewsbury-Hall will most likely be finishing today, playing a full 90 minutes. I'm not looking forward to that. I hate the guy. I think he stinks. I think he's awful. Worst player in the Chelsea squad by far. Look, hope he proves me wrong today. Hope he puts in a shift and hopefully we can get a semi-decent fee for him in January. But finishing off that attack, we've got Neto on the left, Palmer in the middle, Madueke on the right, and Jackson up top. Madueke, in lieu of Sancho. Obviously, the preferred front 4 or front 3 has been Sancho on the left, Neto on the right, Jackson up top, but looks like a little switch around. Neto on the left, playing against his old team for the first time. Interested to see if he can do it up against a congested right side of Semedo, Doherty, Sarabia and Andre today. But obviously Nicholas Jackson, big talking point, the Chelsea strikers at the moment, Christopher and Kunku, and I can see Mr. C Money is waiting in the wings now. So what better time to get his thoughts on a fairly strong, fairly experienced first team lineup, all things considered.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like all things considered, with all the knocks and injuries and whatnot, I understand it. Once again, it's the same as you. Just there's a glaring hole in that midfield. It's very exploitable. I think that it's something that tactically, I think that pushing down that side of the midfield with Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, it's gonna be a bit of a weakness. But obviously, it's that same sort of Conor Gallagher energy. He's just going to be running around doing what he can do. It's just what worries me is he's probably going to get the 90 minutes. I can't see him coming off. He is a bit of an engine. He does stay at that sort of 6.5 out of 10 for the whole game. So it is just what it is. It's the bed that we've been given, so we must lie in it as a club. But it's a pinch worrying, particularly with the form on both sides.
What do you make of this centre mid position? Because obviously, we've seen take Enzo and Lavia out. And, before that, we're talking about we've got the best rotational centre midfield in the world, let alone the Premier League. You take Enzo Lavia out, all of a sudden, I mean, no Casaday, no Chukwuemeka, who are both, expected to be out the door this January. We've got no other centre midfielders. And I know we've got players like Keanu Dyer, Raksaki in the youth team doing bits, fantastic players. I mean, do you feel like we may have overlooked centre midfield as a position to reinforce?
Yeah, I think that, you look at our squad depth and you look at the list of the squad players, and so many of them can, if not naturally, do slip into that centre mid role, can just do it. But then once again, you get, say we play Caicedo at right back and then we don't have an Enzo or Lavia. That's when we start to look at the problems, because, Caicedo, as you just said, Casaday, as you just said, he's someone that I think is excellent. I think he's a great, great young player. I think he's got so much to prove and so much to give. But we don't see him enough, and he's not wanted by the manager. So he's been frozen out. So I think that itself has created quite a difficult situation. I thought that the plan the whole time was, he's sort of there to rotate in and out if we do get injuries and knocks. But even when it does seem to happen, he's not getting the look in. So I think that is a lot of expectation, particularly on Lavia. But yeah, I think it is a little bit. You're right. You're probably right. It's probably been a little bit overlooked, because you do look at the squad depth, and it's probably the last out of the three sort of attacking, defending, and midfielding that you would want to improve is that midfield.
Yeah, I think it's obviously another position where we are blessed with a plethora of youngsters that are next up, waiting to come through, and Andre Santos, the pinnacle of that kind of group of young centre midfielders, box to box, can do it all. We've been saying all season that this guy is going to come straight into the Chelsea team next summer. Look, I know people have been saying that we should recall him in January. I personally think we would be cutting our nose off to spite our face, cutting a loan short that is inarguably the best loan move in the world this season. There is no loan player outperforming Andre Santos. So to cut that development short would be disappointing. However, at the same time, if he is going to come into this Chelsea team and play in the second half of the season and have an impact in cup games in the Conference League, I can understand why we might be a little bit hesitant to stunt that development. But at the same time, we've got to put the needs of the team first. And while I am still on the side at the moment of let the kid do what he wants, let him finish his development, let him see out the season, I do think we've got to start looking at, if we are getting rid of Dewsbury Hall, Casaday, Chukwuemeka, listen, it's either got to be Andre Santos or somebody else. Somebody else has to come in and fill that gap, because as a lot of people on the Instagram comments and, a couple of people on the YouTube as well, nobody really likes Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. I'm not sure who sees something in Kiernan Dewsbury Hall other than Maresca. It's not us. We have many times said Casaday is better, Chukwuemeka is better. It's interesting, but we'll see how he goes. As you said, likely that he will finish 90 minutes today. Let's give him a chance before we slag him off again, but I don't have high hopes for Dewsbury Hall. But Wes says, appreciate, Kieran agrees as well. Kieran, appreciate you in the chat. It's not as legendary a crash out as we would have hoped, but we've still got about 22 minutes to make up for it. So when we run through the whole team, we'll circle back to Dewsbury Hall and just double down on that fucker. But Wes says, appreciate you joining as well, Wes. KDH doesn't worry me. Madueke does. Interesting, because Madueke was the one that obviously bagged a hat-trick in this return fixture, made this fixture his own after he said Wolverhampton is a shithole, went and dunked on them, man. 6-2, hat-trick. Can he do it again today, Charms? Or is this not the same Madueke that scored a hat-trick against Wolves?
Yeah, I think that, that day particularly, I think that we had, there was 2 or 3 games before that where Madueke had kind of been proving himself to be Chelsea's right winger. And I think since then, I think he's not necessarily been figured out, but I think he's definitely fallen out of favour with the manager. I think that was his peak performance, which is probably, what's got him into this role again today. I think it's going to be a can you do it again type of situation. And I don't think he will. I think that the mentality holds him back quite a lot, to be honest, Madueke. I feel like he thinks he's a lot better than he is, and I hate football players like that. And, he's always going to create mistakes. Running in at defenders, yeah, he's that kind of guy. And this is a team that you might want to go and run their fullbacks dry. So I can understand why tactically he's a really good fit. But let's see what Wesley say. Oh, because he's got a hat-trick and then it's fine to be non-existent in the other 50. Exactly that, right? He scores a hat-trick and then he doesn't really do much since then. He's fallen out of favour with the manager since then.
Would you agree with that though? You think he's been non-existent since that hat trick?
Yeah, I think
because I think his game has improved.
I think non-existent is harsh, but I think that his performances have definitely dwindled when you look at all the numbers and the stats. And I think in the end of the day, that's what matters. I mean, you can say, maybe, as you said, he's improved and whatnot. I think maybe, yeah, but I think the improvement hasn't necessarily been the trajectory or the projection that we had expected, particularly after that game. There was a lot of love and a lot of expectation for him to do some pretty big things, I would say, after that game against Wolves. I mean, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, look at with another star Chelsea have found out of nowhere." But I think once again, non-existence is a little harsh, but I don't think the progression since then to now over that last 4 months has been enough to really warrant him to be guaranteed nailed on for this fixture. I think it is more of a tactical decision than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's definitely harsh to say he's been non-existent. I think I'd go out on a limb and say still, I really, really like him in terms of his directness, in terms of his 1v1 dribbling ability. Like, I think Neto is the most able. He's got the highest ceiling out of all of our wingers. But I definitely think at the moment, in terms of what he does week in, week out, Madueke is definitely more of a direct winger. And I think the comparison is definitely closer to him and Sancho. I think in terms of being able to go at your man, I think Neto, a little bit more expansive. He's the one that kind of you're looking for the ball in behind, a pacey winger to whip the ball in, and his delivery is superb as well. But Madueke and Sancho, both very much flair players, both very much 1v1 dribblers, want to beat their man, want to do a little bit of skill and then put a ball in the box. If you were to kind of evaluate those two, obviously Jadon Sancho was a player that we bought in on loan at the start of the season with very little expectations. You and I kind of said, look, there's nothing really that can go wrong with this move, in that it's a 25 million pound player. Worst comes to worst, we make our money back next season. He can't be worse than he was at Manchester United. And, all credit to him. He's been a completely different player. He's been the player that he was at Borussia Dortmund. And Madueke, I think, has definitely improved on last year. I think his game time was limited last year and again has been this year. But I think Enzo Maresca, in being brutally honest with him and coming out and saying he needs to work harder, needs to do better, I think that has really helped his game. How would you compare them kind of midway through the season in terms of Sancho versus Madueke? Who do you think is edging it in that race?
So I think expectation is one thing that kind of skews perspective a little bit, because as you said, we didn't really have much expectation for Sancho, and I think the expectation for Madueke was a little bit higher, particularly after he had started coming on, having good performances. I think from a technical aspect as well, they are quite similar, but I would give Jadon Sancho the edge. I think he's just got a little bit more about him in terms of beating a defender. I think he's a little bit faster, and I think maybe he's got a little bit more of a better finish. Maybe that's probably the most comparable part about their game is their end product. But for me, I think that, as I alluded to earlier, and as some of the comments have mentioned, I think that the mentality in Madueke's game is the main factor which holds him back. And I think that is what gives Sancho the ultimate edge over him. It's a player that's not going to start whinging and complaining. Those little seconds that we spend thinking, oh, why didn't you do this? Sancho's just back in on defense, like he's ready to find his man, make his run and play his role, and he's happy to be a team player. Where I feel like, I've never really looked at Jadon Sancho, and even though he's trying to beat defenders and give it the ums and the ahs, it's never really been the Sancho show. But I feel like with Madueke, he tries to make it the Noni show, and we saw that against Wolves, and it worked. But we've seen that time and time again, and it hasn't. This is a comment I was referring to from Wesley. Madueke, arrogant, blames other players when the mistake is himself. I've noticed so many times that he gets given the ball, turns around then loses it, turns around and blames others. This is what I mean. It's the mentality. It's the small things. That time spent umming and ahhing, we could be focusing on defence, and the amount of goals we've conceded where we're just a foot off, an inch off, and I think that this is what's going to separate Liverpool and Man City and Arsenal to some respect from a team like Chelsea. They have the hunger and the desire because they believe that they can. And I feel like where we start throwing our toys out the pram, it becomes costly. One player that is also a bit of a contribution to that, like Tina's saying, is Pedro Neto. Neto keep on the ground a lot so often lately. It's true. Neto spent a lot of time rolling about, holding his ankles after he's gone in on a challenge. And for me, when you get done, when you get caught by a defender or something, and the ref hasn't blown his whistles, giving the free kick, giving the penalty, just get up, mate. Like, get up. Like, I understand. Like, it might suck and whatnot. You are on 200 grand a week. You can probably afford to get over and hobble back to left wing, mate. So yeah, that's just another thing that frustrates me. But overall, I think the mentality is the main difference between Sancho and Madueke.
How do you feel about, I mean, just going off on a tangent there, and it seems like the majority of people, both in the comments here and on the Instagram, are both agreeing with you that Sancho edges it over Madueke. They're not really giving quantifying differences. But in terms of Pedro Neto, his season, I mean, when we signed him, it was very, very out the blue. It was kind of the first move in about 4 years that hasn't been covered extensively by Fabrizio Romano. It was a shock when it was announced, and it was done within 2 hours. And this is a player that we were incredibly excited about, and still am. I still think, as I've just said, I think Neto has the highest ceiling out of all of our wingers. I think he's an exceptional player. But it's no secret, and I'd be lying if I said he has settled in as quickly as I thought he would. I'd be lying if I said he's had the impact that I thought he would. How do you feel about Neto kind of 6 months on from after we've signed him? Are you still in the same, very much he needs to be given the opportunity, or is he, well, yeah, go on, talk to us.
Yeah, man, like I'll be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed. I expected really big things from Pedro Neto. I expected him to hit the ground running and be a shoo-in in that team every single week. I thought that next to Palmer, it'd be one of the first names on the team sheet. He hasn't really given that yet. I mean, there's, as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of rolling around, a lot of getting injured, a lot of complaining, and it's not like he's moved league, which I get sometimes. You go from a French-German league and you end up in the Premier League. It's a lot more physical, it's a lot more brutish. But he's played against our defenders multiple times. He's played against, he's played with the defenders that we're playing against today multiple times. Like, he's played against every team in the Premier League's back line. He knows how physical this league is. And maybe at Wolves, you can afford to be a little bit more, heart on your sleeve. But here, you just got to get on with it. With the wages being paid and whatnot, you've got to be putting in better performances than he has. And as much as I like him, and I think he's fantastic off of both feet, I think he's great with an early ball. I think he's a great dribbler, great from range as well, shooting. I just think we haven't seen that in its totality. I mean, by now, I would have expected Pedro Neto to have scored, a banger or two. But I just feel like we haven't really seen that either. I feel like maybe he's almost playing his role with too much accuracy. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. But like Pedro Neto at Wolves.
But that was the moment. I think that was the moment where we were like, oh, fuck, okay, he's unlocked it. Here we go. This is what we're expecting.
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's when I expected to switch to Flick, but it feels like we've seen shimmers in moments. And, I've seen him skinning defenders before as well. I mean, I remember there was an opportunity against Fulham just before the half where we're 1-0 up and Cole Palmer's in through on goal and he's got Jackson to his right, but he's got a defender on him. But then far to his left, he's got Pedro Neto wide open and he shoots instead. And, he rolls that to Pedro Neto and Neto bags that. We're 2-0 up and we win that game. We're talking about how good Neto is. So it is a game of inches and, football is just like that. It's a fickle sport where you could have an excellent game, but, the paper might say different. And then all of a sudden it was a bad game to everyone else. So I think he's a good player all in all, but I just think we haven't seen the best of him yet. But I reckon we will eventually.
Go on then, make your prediction for tonight. Is Pedro Neto going to play against his old team with a point to prove, or is he going to get absolutely clamped by Matt Doherty in the first 7 minutes and then not touch the ball after that?
It's going to be one or the other, and we both know.
I know it's going to be one or the other. You got to choose one.
Exactly. I'm realistically, I'm leaning probably towards he gets clamped out the game. But when you look 100%. It's true, right? But when you think about it, man, like these are players he's played with for 4 years at this point. You know what I mean? These are players that he knows well. He knows their weaknesses as well as their strengths. Everyone does on that team, and the counterpoint is they know his. But what you can't exactly put him on his bad foot. I have a feeling he gets frozen out and we're a little bit frustrated. He comes off in the 60th, but I will pray for him to bag today.
Today stinks of Matheus Cunha doing the biggest defensive shift he has never done before. He's going to track back to that far corner and stick. How many studs are there on a single football boot? However many they are, double that. He's going to stick 16 studs into the side of Pedro Neto's knee. I guarantee you, Matheus Cunha is going to do at least one horrible challenge tonight. I've seen you just very quickly. Apologies, Wesley, we didn't get onto your comment quick enough. I appreciate you joining us later. I will be doing a live match reaction as always, so make sure you jump back on the channel at the final whistle. But Wesley made a prediction that I like, even though we are very, your feelings on Jackson are very known to us, Wesley. Do not worry. We're very aware of how you feel about this man, but he's going to make a shout that does make me very happy tonight. He thinks Jackson is going to get 2 goals today. And Nicholas Jackson is a player that has, week in, week out, I don't think there has been a week where he hasn't split the Chelsea fan base. There has not been at least a portion of the Chelsea fan base on either side of the fence. He has never convinced everybody. I mean, he's had us both convinced at points. And listen, I'm a long-time believer. I'm a long-time member of the Jackson Hive. But, Charms, it's starting to come again. Bournemouth start, 95% of the game starting to come together. Are we going to see another frustrating Nicholas Jackson tonight, or is tonight going to be the Nicholas Jackson we know can put the ball in the back of the net?
I'll be honest, I think he can't afford it. I think he can't afford one more stinking game. He can't afford another game with missed opportunities. And, I think the assist to Palmer a week ago, I think that was excellent. I think that he did a really good job with the hold-up play. It's a really, really difficult pass to pace it like that. Really clean, smooth, hard but soft. But it's really tidy passing. And I've said this to him before about him before as well. I think that things like his link-up play is excellent, and it can be one-of-one in his striker position. He does things like that a lot better than every other striker in the Premier League, in my opinion. It's just that end product. I would probably put him 15th, 16th in the league, and we can't afford that, And
that's low. That's low.
The finishing is a problem.
That's under like Richarlison, bruv.
It's under Solanke.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's fair though.
It's under
Richarlison's a call out. Solanke's like a fair.
No, yeah, but this is what I'm thinking. Solanke's shit though, isn't he? He's shit. And
here's a question for you. Right, here's a question for you. And here's a question Wesley's going to fucking hate. Is Nicholas Jackson a better finisher than Liam Delap?
I don't think so.
Hasn't Delap got like 3 goals this season?
Yeah, I know, but
let's just have a quick look.
As a finisher, let's have a look at their XG ratings, man. Let's have a look at let's do it,
21, man. Yeah, fairs.
And let's
all right, go on then. Nah, not XG. What's a good stat to compare? Chance conversion.
Well, it's just difficult, isn't it? Because that's probably a good one. Chances converted because
comparison.
They've got to create the chances as well, and we've got one of the best teams in the league for creating chances. The problem is Nicholas Jackson's the one creating them, so he can't really put them on a plate for himself. You know what I mean? So.
It's teams, not players.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even if you were to go off of that, it would be completely unfair based on Chelsea and the team involved. Ipswich aren't exactly doing amazing. They're actually quite shit. And I think that the only star in their team is Liam Delap, who's an absolutely fantastic striker who's good enough for Pep Guardiola. I think he'd be good enough for Chelsea. I think that if Liam Delap came to Chelsea this window, I think he bags more goals by the end of the season than Jackson would. To be totally honest,
Liam Delap has 40% of Ipswich's goals. He's got 8 goals, which is 8 out of 20. He's got 40% of their goals. Chris Wood has 42% of Nottingham Forest's goals this season. What the fuck?
It's a daily bag. It's great.
Jesus Christ.
Chris Wood coming into his own is just absolutely incredible. It was just not on my bingo card at the beginning of the year by any stretch.
Salah's got 36% of Liverpool's goals this year.
What's Jackson
Jesus,
got?
These stats are fucking nuts.
What's Jackson got? 17% of ours?
22%.
Yeah, he shouldn't, mate. He should have 35.
Cole Palmer's got 34.1.
Yeah, that's a shame because our 10 is scoring nearly double the amount of goals.
Right, we'll have to find a proper actual, because I'm doing it here on the stream and it's just going to turn this into an absolutely shite stream if I'm just scrolling through Google. We'll have to find a good proper chance conversion. I test. I mean, I don't listen. Liam, you know what? And a big thing about Chelsea fans and Liam Delap is Liam Delap has not performed all season like he did against Chelsea.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well, yeah.
The 90 minutes that we've seen of Liam Delap has been his best 90 minutes by a country mile.
But what about Nicholas? Nicholas Jackson's best 90 minutes, he looks pretty damn good as well, but it's just the bad 90 minutes. I'm not really having them. He goes ghosty. And it's hard to say the same with Liam Delap because, you look at the side he's in and they get drubbed 3-0. He's kind of rubbed out the game. They don't really create chances.
Yeah, I mean, another person that thinks listen, if you're a betting man, a lot of people seem to have a little gut feeling tonight that Nico Jackson's going to be on the score sheet. I personally would not advocate for that. However, I'm not a betting man, so you're going to have to listen to C Money's tips at the end of the video for.
I wouldn't put a bet on that.
But
I'll tell you that much.
Let's get on to the last kind of change in this Chelsea lineup, and it is the welcome return of El Capitan. Charms. Just how much of a difference does Reece James make to this Chelsea team?
It's difficult. It's hard because he's just, there's such a night and day difference in quality when he's in the team. I mean, he's a fantastic player. We saw it even in the back end of last week against Bournemouth for the 30 minutes he was on. I thought he was great. The goal he scored, that's exactly, it's not the first time we've seen that from him. It's not going to be the last time we've seen that from him. He's Mr. Clutch, to be totally honest. He's the type of player you want as your captain. He's just, as we've said multiple times, he's made out of paper mache. It's so unfortunate that he's just so injury prone because he'd be the first name before Palmer's name on the team sheet because he would be our captain. And we just, how much can we afford Reece James being on the sidelines for as long as he has been? You know what I mean? If it's one more injury like that, which sets him back for 9-10 months, I'm going to be emotionally done with Reece James, no matter when he comes back or however long he comes back for, because I can't do it, mate. I can't look at my team bleed out in hemorrhage and not buy right backs because they've got the best one in the world but barely plays a game of football because the minute someone makes an all right challenge on him and he's clipped his ankle, he's broke it and he's down for 6 months. So it is very difficult, man. Beast James, fully fit, makes a difference in this team 100%. I think he's a catalyst for when we play well. There's a massive link between the games that Reece James plays and when we are performing well. And there's a reason behind that. We win a Champions League with him with the armband on. This is the type of player that he is. I want that. I want that. I want him in the squad. I want him fit and I want him able. But if he gets injured one more time, I'm taking 70 million for him. I'm not asking a question. You can go to any team in the fucking world. Al Hilal, Al Ali, fucking PSG. I don't care. One more injury, he's gone. I'm not doing
Gabriel,
it.
I'm glad you said that, man. I don't know if you heard it, Charles, but before you came on when I was running through the team, I said I would rather have Reece James for 4 games, 4 moments a season than to sell him. I would rather he was just sitting on the bench. Like that moment against Bournemouth, you've already forgotten he's been injured for the first half of the season. Like already, he's gone, done. He's already back. He's already back to being the best right back in the world, bro.
When did we forget? I'm sorry, bro, but we can't have that. After that free kick, we forgot he's been out for the whole season. No, we haven't, because you look at the team table, you look at the games we've lost, you look at the amount of games we scored first and ended up dropping points in. How many games have we been the team to score first and then lose that game or draw that game? We've dropped at least 15 points doing that this season. And if Reece James
that's Reece James's fault, how?
Because he's our right back. Because he's our starting right back that we don't buy right backs to replace him because he's so good. It's his fault for being injured.
We bought Gusto to replace him. Where's Gusto?
Not worth 70 million to Real Madrid, is he? He's not our captain, is he? He's not. It's not the same level. It's not like it's not Malo Gusto who gets injured for 9 months and we don't replace him with the hope he's going to come back fit for the next 10 years. It's not the case. That is the case with Reece James. It's overly wishful thinking, and as much as I do wish it, and I pray for Reece James' success, World Cup round the bend, I want him to start in that as well as start every game for Chelsea till that period. It's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen, and I know it's not going to happen because he's going to play against fucking Burnley in the FA Cup and get 2-footed by some random. Matty Cash is going to do it next time he plays Villa, and then he's going to be out for a year. So it's just frustrating.
I'd take Reece James on touches over Matty Cash. Listen, man, I think Chelsea have two of the top 10 right backs in the world. I wouldn't trade Malo Gusto or Reece James for no right back in the world. I wouldn't trade him for no amount of money.
You wouldn't take. So you're telling me, you wouldn't take Malo Gusto out his squad for 50 million, yeah?
No.
With a fit Reece James.
50 million for Malo Gusto.
With a fit Reece James.
What? Man City have just paid 50 mil for Kushanov.
Oh,
And you're
to be
talking
fair,
about the same
fair
fee.
enough. I forget how
What?
football works nowadays, but I forget how football works. But you're not taking 70 million for him.
I put 250 on my wrist the other day, and I was like, light flex, bro. This ain't nothing in today's market, bro. Man, I've been throwing around 60. Bro, Omar Mamouche, 70 mil. I mean, listen,
Ridiculous.
player. Come on, man. City have thrown, what, £150 million at the wall for 3 players, none of whom, realistically, should get into their first team.
That Bridget from Azerbaijan, bro. Like, they didn't even play football over there.
Bro. I had man in my TikTok comments going, oh, we should have gone for Kushanov. I had to reply to every single one. Like, do not fucking try and tell me you knew who this brother was. Do not fuck. They were like, oh, yeah, some of us watch football, not just Premier League. Fuck off, did you know who Kushanov was? Liars. Fucking liars, all of you, man.
They're the same people that knew who that Ralph Rangnick brethren was when he went to United, isn't it? They're the same people that knew who that was. Not even CR7 knew who that was, bro. He was like, who's this person? Sporting director. This guy ain't even a manager. What's he doing here? And everyone was like, yeah, Ralph Rangnick, man. That's a manager with some serious high pedigree. Everyone doing the same thing with this Kushanov, man. You see it time and time again. It's okay to admit that you don't know something, guys. It's okay. You don't have to watch.
It's okay. You don't have to pretend, man. You don't have to be like Diego Day. I've read every single religious book and I found faults in all of them. Just say you're not religious, bruv. Don't lie. Don't do things for clout. It's not good, guys. It's not good. We're living in the real world. The internet is still the real world, guys. You can't forget. This is not a different universe. It's the same place. But anyway, while we're on the topic of transfers, and we've got a little less than half an hour until the game starts, so we'll close out on a little bit of transfer talk. I don't know if you've seen today, Charms, but Fabrizio Romano has reported that Chelsea have agreed a deal for Mamadou Sarr from Strasbourg, who obviously sister club, Blue Co club. So any talents that come through Strasbourg will undoubtedly get sent to Chelsea. Listen, positives, he's come from the Lyon youth team. There are very few players that come from the Lyon youth team that aren't absolute ballers. I mean, the majority of them are degenerates as well, but that's just a French thing. So that's something that we're going to have to come to terms with. But Chelsea have been continually investing in young French centre-backs. This is another young French centre-back, 15 million with add-ons, long-term contract agreed. Reported that he will be loaned back out to Strasbourg the second half of this season. I mean, I don't know too much about him. I've been watching a little bit of Strasbourg for the loan watch videos this season. I'm pretty sure he's played kind of 10, 12 games. He looks fairly solid, but I'll be honest, nothing to write home about. He hasn't really stood out to me. Maybe 1-2 games. You know, I've looked at him and gone, he's had a fantastic game there, but really nothing that I can, again, nothing to write home about. What is it with Blue Co and this obsession with young black French centre-backs? Because we've gone out, tried a few, and we just seem to have found our type, or found our mould. We're going to get one until they work. Where's Fofana, Disasi, Badia Shil, now Mamadou Sarr, Malang Sarr, Kurt Zuma? How many of this profile are we going to look at before we find our guy?
Honestly, just keep throwing onto the wall until it sticks. You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be sort of the situation. With the Sarr transfer, when I saw it, it was maybe the most underwhelming transfer link we could have possibly had. I mean, I get it, right-footed centre-back and whatnot, but like we need that now, not next year, where we can just figure that out over a 3-month period during the summer. Also, at the same point, name me one player with the last name Sarr that actually came out good, particularly at Chelsea. I'll struggle with that one. But yeah, it's just more unproven talent. You know, this is just not what I wanted. This is not the Jonathan Tah that I was interested in. You know, this is not Bastoni. This is definitely not Ronald Araujo, who all links to that has just been absolutely neutered. I mean, I remember it was Araujo's untouchable to Barcelona are accepting to entertain offers for Ronald Araujo, and then nothing over 2 weeks. And we're on the back end of January now, and still radio silence on that one. So looks like, yeah, once again, we're just kind of doing the Blue Co tradition of just seeing an all right player at Strasbourg going, yeah, Chelsea can have him next year. But we need him now, you know. So, yeah, it's a little bit underwhelming, to be totally honest, mate.
Yeah, and we did an episode last week, obviously talking about the big news that Kobe Mainoo was on Chelsea's shortlist. There was another Manchester United player on Chelsea's shortlist, and Ornstein has pushed that forward this week, saying that Chelsea have made contact over both Jamie Bino Gittins and Alejandro Garnacho. We'll get onto Bino Gittins in a minute, but talk to us. Give us your initial reaction on the Garnacho links.
Honestly, it was exciting. I've been a big fan of Garnacho. I think he's a great player in a bad team. I think that he's diamond in the rough over there at United. I really do. But I think genuinely, if we were to buy him in now, he would be struggling to be in Madueke's situation. He would be just on the cusp the whole time. He would need multiple games to prove himself, and the mentality is not 100% okay with me. I think he's a little bit too much of a little arrogant hothead. And I think that that's going to cost us long term. I think that we've done a really good thing with managing the squad's mentality. And I feel like a player like Garnacho is the best type of player to completely uproot and dishevel everything that we've worked so hard to keep so succinct. So, yeah, man, as much as I like the player, and I think he's a fantastic baller, and in my humble opinion, he would be in my top 3 players at Man United, probably third out of the 3 best players at Man United. And
Garnacho be your top 3 United players?
Yeah, I would put him.
Go on then. You got to give me the other 2 then.
I'd probably put Kobe Mainoo number 1. I'd probably put Bruno Fernandes second.
Yeah.
And
I'm just trying to think if there's anybody else. What, you wouldn't put Mason Mount? You wouldn't put Mason Mount above Garnacho? Fucking rude, bro. But he's the Cobham boy. He's the chosen one.
Nah, he's home, mate. Let him be at home, yeah. But listen, at home.
Hope his ACL falls off.
Sub bench. Do you know what I mean? He's talking about the injury room. But listen, yeah, no. You look at the rest of that side. Is who's the better player? Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho. It's got to be Garnacho. You look at all the other players around him. Xerxes, it's Garnacho. You can't. Don't even think about mentioning a defender. Don't even think about mentioning Onana.
I mean, at this point, I was gonna go. I can't lie. I was gonna go for Toby Collier. I think he looks like a player, mate, and Garnacho is pretty fucking bang average. Listen, I hear you. On reflection, I don't disagree, but it is the best of a bad bunch. And when we say a bad bunch, it's a fucking diabolical group of players. Yeah. Ruben Amorim wasn't wrong, bro. That is the worst Manchester United team ever. Like, ever. I don't blame Trav. Listen, I get on here and I give Trav shit for jumping off the podcast. But if I was a Man United fan, I probably would have killed myself. Yeah. Moving on. Jamie Bino Gittins, what do you think of him? Youngster, obviously English as well. Doing bits in Borussia Dortmund.
Just don't watch enough, to be honest, man. The name's gone around enough to kind of pique my interest. I'd be wrong if I say I haven't heard the Bino Gittins, but right now, more youth, really. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the first thing that I will say and agree with. I mean, I know that he spent a bit of time, I think, at our youth team. He bounced around. I think it was at Man City as well. He's never really. I think, as far as I'm aware, anyway, Dortmund was the only club he's ever been with. He's never set the league on fire. He's never had that Sancho, that Moukoko, that Dembele season, when somebody from Dortmund just started tearing it, that Adeyemi even, like when everyone was talking about him, and maybe he's doing it this year and I haven't been paying that close attention, but yeah, for me, you've summed it up there with, it's just another profile that we have so many of. And yes, he's 20 years old. Yes, he might have a couple of years on a few of these players. But why are we looking at wingers when we've got fucking Estevan Willian coming in next year, man? We don't need wingers. We've already got the future lined up. We need to be worrying about now.
Do you know what the oldest player in our squad is?
Surely it's Tosin.
It's Tosin, and he's 27. We got to deal with this youth. We don't have anyone. I would be the oldest player at Chelsea.
Is what I'm saying, bro. We'd be the oldest man. Bro, we are older. That's what I think as well. Is sometimes I get on here and I'm like, I don't really want to chat to shit to these man. These man are my These man are my olders, whatever. Brother, these man are younger than us. Robert Sanchez. Bro, Robert Sanchez is younger than us.
Bro,
Robert Sanchez is younger than us, bro. I mean,
bad.
Bruv, we are old. So they're YNs. We're We're not Unk status just yet. We
Nah,
must
not
be big
quite.
bro.
We're
must
just
be big
L's, bro.
We must be big bro.
We're just BBs, bro. Whoa.
Can't be,
but listen,
can't be end to pause. We can't be
who
Unks
wins
just
in
yet.
the
Man.
fight? Now that
Pull
you
up
know,
to
now that you know,
mate. I'm gonna rename our channel. Our channel is no longer Two Blues. Our channel is called The Unction. Our channel is officially now. Pull up to actually. You know what, bruv? Fuck Purple Patch. Scott, I didn't ignore your comment. I saw it earlier. If you want to jump on the next stream, bro, Scott, our new podcast is called The Unction. Me, you, OB, Charms, just the Unks, man. Just the old.
Unks,
actually,
man,
I can't even call it The Unction, man, because Scott and OB are fucking old heads, man. Scott and OB are like 3 generations above us. All due respect.
Man.
But yeah, man, the Unction is the Unction is where it's at. But yeah, man, about 15 minutes to go till the game. Listen, I don't know about you. I've had a gut feeling all day. I've had people in the office talking to me all day saying, oh, you'll fucking smash it tonight. You'll beat them. Whatever. I've even had a Wolves fan at work. Believe it or not, in Little Radlett, we've got a Wolves fan. And even she thought they were going to get spanked. She got offered tickets today and she said no, because we're going to get fucking spanked. I have got a gut feeling that today is definitely not going to be as smooth as a lot of people think. How are you feeling today? Go on. I'm going to ask for a score prediction for you. How do you see today going?
Yeah, I didn't realize that everyone was so ready. You know, I didn't think everyone was so ready to go and play Wolves. I think this is a hard fixture. I don't think that Wolves are a side that you can just bend over like Southampton. You know, everyone's rent boy. I think that it's going to be a difficult game. I reckon we win, but I reckon there's a goal in it, and I reckon we concede. So I reckon we'll win 2-1. I reckon it'll be a really cagey game. I reckon we score first. I reckon we score second. But I reckon that we start to make it difficult. You know, we just do the small things that kind of make the other team tick. I reckon they'll bag will get cagey. And, you know, I'm inclined to go along with Harry's suggestion of 2-2 over there.
Harry, is your dad called Terry, by the way? Let me know in the comments. Is your dad Terry Cheney? If it is, this is nuts. Go on.
No, fucking yeah. I reckon 2-2 is a fair assessment. I'm a bit more hopeful than that. I don't think that we can afford another glaring mistake. And you know, for the amount of glaring mistakes that we've seen out of Robert Sanchez, I feel like today's the day where we see the good side of him. So
oh my god, it is! No way, Harry.
That's
big
crazy.
Up yourself, man. Random. I'm about to go get my
That's
dad.
crazy.
I'm about to go get him on stream. That is mad. Harry, big up yourself. Big up Terry.
Well, he's got an awful take. He's got an awful take. Did you see that take that he had a couple of minutes ago, bro? Get rid of that one, bro. What are you doing, geezer?
He's smoking the good stuff. He is smoking the good stuff. Petrovic, get Petrovic back.
Don't tell Terry about that one, mate. You'll go mental. That's a terrible.
Where is he? Wait, hold on. I've got to get him. If we're closing it out.
Is it Gav time? Yeah.
Dad, come here. Come here.
There's a first for everything.
There's a first, bro. We're gonna get generations here. Generations of day.
Oi, when we coined the term,
I can't believe it.
Yeah, Dad's in the stream all of a sudden. That's brilliant. That's
keep
so
talking,
funny.
by the way. He's going to take about half an hour to get upstairs. No, this is absolutely not small world.
And
you know what, Harry? Ollie cuts my hair, and Ollie always talks about how his boys. Look who's in the conversation. Look who's in the chat.
Harry Cheney.
Yeah, and I saw him, and I was like, "No way, who's your dad?" And he was like, "Go get Gav." Everyone, it's a reunion. Everyone's in. Oh, well, Harry, you'll have to get him on camera next time. We'll have to send you an invite next time. We'll have to get you on stream.
Harry, you talk a lot more sense than your dad. That's all I can say.
He said bring Kepa back.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, he said bring Kepa. Look, that's the one thing he
Who
said.
that?
Harry.
Oh, God.
I can't believe it. Yeah, get rid. Ban him.
He said it. Terry's here as well. Come on, Dad. Come say hi.
Oh,
come on, you got to come wave now. You got to come wave. Just for it's 2 seconds. This is generational.
Terry, if Terry Cheney's on here, don't listen to a word he says.
He said he was on the wind up about. I will forgive you.
All
we'll
right.
forgive you.
Is everyone good?
Harry, Tell, you all good? Bloody hell, I'm sweating now. Oh,
Reunion on
yeah, that's what
yeah,
he just said.
was.
All right, nice one.
See you later.
Ta. Oh yeah, that's Yeah, neither. It's generational gap. It's, technology, how it gets. He was standing about 6 feet off the screen going, I think I'm like, you're not, Daddy can't see. He can't. All good. We're good.
And then you said, what was funny was when you said, I think he was on the wind up about Kepa. And then 2 minutes later, you went, look, he's on the wind up.
Honestly, funny stuff. Yeah, 100%, man. Get you on a stream. I'll give you a shout. I'll get Dad to give me a number. But yeah, appreciate it. Listen, man. We need someone to keep us all grounded, because in all this talk about title charge and whatever, I think we might have forgotten ourselves a little bit. But yeah, our chance today to get back into the top 4. So Chelsea fans, get your score predictions in the comments. 15 minutes until the game. Make sure to let us know who you think's going to win. Let us know what you think of the team selection as well. Obviously, Maresca over Sancho. James back in. Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Stinker, man. Absolute stinker. I can't wait for this Kieran Dewsbury. Stinker and hooked. But yeah, man, get your comments get your comments in the chat. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. At 2 Blues Podcast on the Instagram, on the TikTok. Everybody enjoy the game. Up to Chelsea. And as always, back here for a live match reaction as soon as the final whistle goes. Come on to Chelsea.